Welcome to Game 3 of the series. That's right, it is going to be Paul versus Barton. Barton defending his throne. Pretty impressive victory by Barton in Game 1. Equally impressive victory, in my opinion, in Game 2 by Paul, going for Panthers. That is not something you see very frequently. It's really not, and I think it's the last thing anybody expected from Paul, so very well played by Paul in Game 2. Barton had the victory point lead this series, so he has chosen Ostwind, and Paul has counterpicked him with Soviets, not U.S. forces, on this particular map. And we're going to see mechanized support, armored assault, and guard motor coordination against Barton's mechanized assault, mobile defense, and lightning war. So pretty close series. I'm not really sure how it's going to end. And I'm curious to see how Paul will modify his strategy from Game 1. We already see him completely changing up his build. He's not going to go snipers. He's going to go 3 conscripts into field infirmary. And Barton will not modify his build in any way, going 4 grenadiers just like last game. And they're both just spreading out and taking territory for now. Conscripts will engage grenadiers on the fuel point. Ooh, there's an early retreat. These conscripts need to get to safety away from these massed Grens in green cover at range. Oh wow. Paul will retreat too. Both of them retreating a little prematurely, I feel. It's going to force them off the battlefield a little quickly. Green cover position being constructed here to delay the retaking of this fuel point by Barton. But he does have 2 grenadier squads on the flank of those 2 conscripts. So he could easily flank that position with all 4 of his squads and win the engagement while Paul is forced off the battlefield with that con squad. Combat engineers moving to take munitions on the left will be able to get these points unopposed soon. And it looks like the grenadiers are actually going to go straight for Paul's fuel and try and cut him off so that he doesn't get too much of a benefit from having taken this. I like this, by the way, sandwiching himself in this green cover so that he'll be protected from both flanks. He knows that there are grenadiers behind him, so probably could have angled that a little more north, though, because he will not really be protected from those grenadiers if they just reposition a little bit over here. Regardless of his preparation, this green cover will not be able to hold this territory for very long against what he's up against. 2 grenadier squads on both of his flanks. Even sandwiched in this green cover, he's just going to have to retreat if he doesn't want to get wiped on retreat by delaying and stalling here for too long. But he does get a pretty decent amount of fuel coming in for a little while. Had both fuel points, and he's already up to 115. Hasn't built a tech structure yet, but off to a pretty good fuel start, I would say. Combat engineers continuing to work the left side, getting all that territory under control. But manpower-wise, the engagements do go to Barton. You can afford to be a lot more aggressive in the early game against Ostwind. Try and harass their fuel, try and harass his territory, even though you won't be engaging cost effectively if you can stall and delay, take fuel early. There's some benefit to that. On Minsk Pocket, though, retreating is always costly. And he will be forced off the field for a little while, and he may want to engage a little more carefully next time. He should be able to take the next engagement, though, since Barton will be the one to now be overextended here on the north of Minsk Pocket. Squad reinforcing here. These 3 squads are going to make their way to engage in this area. Barbed wire goes down right there. Grenadiers taking control of that strategic point. These 3 squads moving to engage. Will be up against 2 squads of grenadiers in yellow cover. They should win. Despite having to charge over open ground, they have superior numbers. Close the distance relatively quickly. Flamethrower should flush them out of cover nicely. And the engagement looks like it will go to Paul if he can get support here. Otherwise, it may be too much for him to take on. I don't think he has research Molotovs. That flamethrower needs to do good work in this engagement. He needs to merge into that flamethrower. There it is. Nice merge. He's still going to lose, though. It's just too much Too much for 3 squads to take on. That's pretty much Barton's entire army. He forced only 1 retreat during that, and more grenadiers are on their way to support and try and hold the line. That is a 6 grenadier opening from Barton, but Paul is actually going to counter this by floating a ton of manpower until 2 command points and going straight into heavy mortar and guard rifles to counter this massive amount of gren spam from Barton. Barton throwing up a bunker right here, and that's probably already been countered by the decision to go heavy mortar by Paul. I don't think that's going to last long. Meanwhile, harassment at the right side by this conscript squad.
The enemy has cut off a sector. The enemy has taken our supply sector.
The squad's reinforcing here.
Guard rifle infantry squads are now available.
Conscripts making their way towards the south to take control of this strategic point. And Barton hasn't actually taken this, so this is a really good cutoff maneuver by Paul, by the way. That's going to completely shut down Barton's economy. 1 squad of grenadiers moving to counter. Another engagement being joined right here, and a heavy mortar is pounding at the bunker, and these infantry may not be mass enough to survive this. Yes, they will. That bunker has a line on these infantry. Look at the placement. Look how nuanced that is. Very carefully placed bunker to cover both avenues of approach. Paul will have to pull back a little bit to safety. Meanwhile, over here on the right side, grenadiers are successful in chasing away those conscripts, but Barton will be completely shut down economically for at least a little while. That's the second time Paul has pulled off pretty serious economic harassment on his opponent. Meanwhile, this bunker has to decide whether to prevent capture of the center point or try and suppress this blob. Rifle grenade! Oh! Could have been worse. Heavy damage on the conscripts, minor damage to the guards, but Paul will be forced to retreat. That bunker's going to go down after maybe 1 more barrage from the heavy mortar, though. Unless grenadiers can force it to retreat, which they may be able to. Paul's going to soft retreat it a little bit out of their rifle grenade range, at least. Continue working on the bunker soon, and it looks like Barton economically is now going to be pulling ahead.
We are losing supplies to the enemy.
Conscripts moving up against these grenadiers over here. Paul losing the engagement, needs to retreat. Kind of a late retreat. I don't think they're going to get away. That's going to be the first squad wipe of the game, I believe. Maybe. He did not take the safe retreat path. He needed to go north. Barton is about to make a full retreat from off the map, though. I think he has accepted the fact that he cannot hold this line any longer. Heavy mortar and PTRS fire should clean that bunker up easily. And flamethrower. But I would say that the return Barton got on that investment was very significant. Just look at how red the map is. He held the line for so long. Should be able to capitalize on that. Throwing up a medical bunker here in his base now as he's retreated. Going battle phase 2. We might see a Panzer IV from him next. He got a ton of fuel. 39 fuel coming in right now. And over here on the left side, ooh, Paul might pick up this wipe if Barton's not paying attention. That was a late retreat. Fortunately, he retreated before PTRS is fired. Just barely. If he doesn't get a lucky PTRS snipe, that model's probably gone. Nope, there it is. Shot, headshot with the PTRS. Ouch. Heavy mortar just blasted those conscripts so hard, though. Flamethrower working on the left side munitions. Conscripts working on the right side munitions. Paul wants to throw down a mine, but grenadiers spot him in the attempt. Has to go disengage, try and accomplish it somewhere else. Heavy mortar taking the fuel back, and all the map is falling back into Paul's control. Barton needs to be careful about blobbing like this with that heavy mortar on the field. If he gets blasted by the heavy mortar right in the middle of a tight clump of his grens, it's going to hurt really badly. He'll probably split up once he actually makes it into a meaningful engagement range. Splits the blob to flank that squad of conscripts. Heavy mortar tries to move up into an effective range to start bombarding those grenadiers should they blob up too hard. It needs to make its way very aggressively to the center VP while guards jump into the green cover position right here. That's 2 squads of guards from Paul.
entering our territory.
Flamethrower Pyos working the left side strategic point.
Mortar ready for orders. Secured. The sector is at risk.
Heavy mortar off target.
We have it.
It's barraging, not auto-firing. It may be a little bit vulnerable. Has no infantry screen.
Sector has been cut off.
Tier 2 going up here in Paul's base to protect against an Ostwind, which is already on the field. Pretty late reaction, but the PTRSs may be able to at least screen the Ostwind away for a little while. Heavy mortar is in danger from that force of grenadiers right there. Green cover going up on this flanking route to protect against those infantry. The Ostwind has moved to engage these guards and gets a pretty nice opening burst right there, forcing one retreat. Rifle grenade will force the next. Nice dodge though. Very nice dodge. He's trying to stall. Ostwind will destroy his green cover position though. Oh, he's gonna get nailed. Get that guard squad out of there. Wow. They just wiped that grenadier squad with their PTRSs though. They got some really lucky shots during that. Full squad of Grens goes down. I don't know if the guards are gonna make it away though. Retreating through 2 squads of Grens. Ostwind on the retreat path. Looks like they'll be okay. Barely. Conscripts in the retreat path will threat with AT grenades, means you can't get too close. Flamethrower over here will be forced to retreat by the Ostwind next, I think. Ostwind on the flank of that squad will force them to retreat.
You need light anti-mortar crew ready. The enemy is encroaching on our territory. Conscripts can now attack tanks with AT grenades.
Ostwind getting pretty aggressive. I don't know if that's a good idea. Paul's not going to be able to get in range for AT grenade though. Or will he? Wow, barely. There's the engine damage and a huge hit from the field gun. Paul might be able to take this thing out. Heavy mortars blasting grenadiers on the fuel point. This squad of grenadiers is pretty overextended. AT guns trying to get in range. He does have Minesweeper piles over here to give vision. He continues to chase. Minesweeper piles moving to try and get vision, but he really wants to finish capturing this point too. He's just gonna keep chasing, keep chasing, keep chasing. He's getting closer. It reveals itself. And any second. Oh, fire, Paul! Oh, he hit the ground. These squads chase away the Grenadier squad that was taking this territory. There they are retreating. Another squad being forced to retreat. I think the Ostwind gets away though. Gets away home free. Got really lucky. Paul kind of messed up his AT gun micro a little bit doing that because he was focusing and trying to wipe some Grenadiers. But either way, the engagement goes to him. He's taking back control of the fuel point, taking control of the entire left, taking control of the right. Barton losing control of the map quite quickly. He didn't have that dramatic of an impact with his Ostwind. Because these guards and AT gun just are a little too much to take on. He really wants this unit as an aggressive counter to the heavy mortar. He really needs a way to push the heavy mortar off the field. If he can execute good flanks with that Ostwind throughout the course of the game, push that heavy mortar away, and should definitely open up opportunities for his infantry to engage a little more safely. Possibly a little bit more clumped in cover. Taking advantage of yellow cover on Minsk Clock is very dangerous when there's a heavy mortar bombarding you. And there's not very much green cover anywhere on the map at all.
The enemy has driven a wedge in our lines.
Minesweeper Pio is forced away by 2 Grens there on the right side. Barton opened with 6 and currently has 5. I don't know if he's lost more than 1 full squad. I think I've seen him lose 2 full squads. 3 full squads. So 3 of his 8 Grenadier squads have been wiped. I wish there were a way for me to check Paul's units, but for whatever reason you just can't toggle between players mid-game because the in-game stat screen is so awesome. Fortunately, Relic decided to let me check Barton's. I'm quite confident that Paul has lost no full squads this game. Heavy mortar bombarding the right side. Grenadiers working on the left side strategic point. Mortar firing away, doesn't hit anything yet though. Ostwind has been fully repaired and is hovering in the south, not totally sure what he wants to do. His decision to go Ostwind is unlikely to survive call-ins once they get to the field. No AT guns from Barton yet, probably going to tech back down to tier 2 next. He rushed out the Ostwind, had a pretty big impact with it for map control, but he overextended it in all honesty. Drove right into the Soviet base. If he had just sort of held back and defended a little more, he probably wouldn't have been forced this far back. You have to very carefully judge whether to use it offensively or defensively. Offensively against a heavy mortar, defensively against infantry. And of course, it comes down to exactly how your opponent uses AT guns. Paul's honestly only made it to the battlefield just barely in time to prevent something disastrous from happening. On the left side, Minesweeper Piles trying to get some territory back. Paul bleeding a bit of manpower at range against the Ostwind. Barton has switched into defensive mode, just trying to pick off infantry models at range right now, not going to execute any overly aggressive maneuvers, and continuing to try to put pressure on his opponent with core units, going with the Panzer IV. No commander selection from him, so he basically needs the Panzer IV Ostwind combination to really crush Paul in the next engagement. He's not going to have a whole lot of time after that. If he can bleed Paul's manpower really hard, wipe like 4 squads, then Paul will be in an awkward situation where he has to decide between fresh infantry, reinforcements. Ooh. Whole squad just got wiped by a lucky heavy mortar hit over there. Not good for Barton, really not good. He cannot be suffering squad wipes and going hard tier 3. He needs to be winning engagements with tier 3. If he goes hard tier 3 and loses engagements in map control, he's pretty much screwed. Panzer IV secures some kills over there on the left side, forces a retreat. Barton's working on the right side, munitions point with some grenadiers, tentatively engaging in the center against some guards in green cover. This green cover position that Paul threw up has had a pretty dramatic impact on the game. Green cover is so important. Even extremely temporary green cover makes a huge difference in engagements. And on a map that doesn't have any natural green cover at all, it's just further exaggerated. Except for a few sandbags scattered around the map on the flanks. Minsk Pocket is probably one of the only maps where the cover situation doesn't really change very much in the center. The map starts out covered in yellow cover, and it ends covered in yellow cover. It just transforms from bushes and trees into craters. Barton is actually skipping past this fuel point for now. Apparently he has all the tanks he intends to use, at least for the moment. I mean, it's going to take a really long time to mass the fuel for a Tiger if that's the route he takes next. Paul's fuel economy isn't that relevant right now either, honestly. Does hold back with 1 squad of Grenadiers to get that under control. The squad is not currently upgraded with an LMG. Panzer IV and Ostwind trying to pull back to safe distance. There are 2 field guns here. Barton still has not produced a single one. His first one is in production now. He's bled a lot of manpower and infantry engagements to Paul's heavy mortar, which actually only has 4 kills. It hasn't done that much other than damage. And wiping that 1 squad with that lucky hit. Ostwind getting really aggressive right here. This is probably an overly aggressive maneuver by Barton. I don't expect this to succeed. Marked vehicle tossed on the... Wow, look at that, though. On the Ostwind. That Panzer IV flank, though. I don't know, I could be wrong. Marked vehicle plane gets shot down, but it doesn't actually matter that much, because it still has a debuff. But both field guns are going to get decrewed, I think, if that Ostwind could hit anything. Finally, they kill each other. That Ostwind refused to finish the job, but both field guns have been decrewed. LMG Grenadiers engaging here in the center. Grenadiers will be forced to retreat. Heavy mortar landing on this. Oh, and the flamethrower pops! Surprisingly good engagement for Barton. I felt he was being overly aggressive, but he decrews both field guns and wins the infantry engagement. We'll force a retreat from that heavy mortar, I suspect. And he had no choice but to get really aggressive, honestly. With his tier 3 opening, he had to have the most dramatic possible impact, and I would say that destroying those field guns is a good start. I would steal that, though, if I were him. He knows those Collins are coming. He needs to prepare. He has 2 AT guns of his own. Stealing that field gun would only help things. His 2 AT guns are not available to support in this engagement. If he at least had that one, he could damage them a little bit, maybe dissuade them from what they're about to do to the Panzer IV. Both shots connect right there. Don't think this Panzer IV is going to get to safety. Nope, all 3 shots hit consecutively. AT gun is set up to screen against this push. Paul needs to somehow disengage without losing these tanks. He does decrew 1 pack. He could probably destroy it. Oh! He could probably destroy it if he stuck around. Wow! I've never seen T-34 so accurate. Every single shot they fired since they hit the battlefield has connected perfectly. Paul getting some really good engagements this series.
You have a Tiger to deploy. Relief infantry is now available. Stuka AT support standing by for order.
Panzer Faust on the rear armor of that T-34, but it should be able to get safe. The AT gun's probably not going to get in range to finish the job anytime soon. Paul will recover 1 of his field guns, pull back for some reinforcements. Has a lot of reinforcement to do here in his base, and a lot of repairs to execute as well. Anti-tank gun overextending a little bit, but it'll probably be fine. And Barton just picked Lightning Ward just so he could call in Stuka close air support. The strike zone ends here, though. Didn't do that much damage. I think Paul will be able to get clear. He should probably not enter the strike zone with these infantry, though. I don't know. He probably doesn't want to just sit for 50 seconds AFK in his base. He's just going to have to try and dodge the Stuka close air support, I guess. He should definitely not be repairing in the strike zone either, though. Get out of the strike zone, Paul. Targets those guards, does minor damage and suppression. And it looks like Barton is going to have to make a full retreat after capturing this fuel point.
We're under attack! We have our reinforcements! The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
Oh, really, Emu? I think something just got wiped right there. Unless it literally just targeted the medics and nothing else. Why would it target the medics? Did it really just target the medics? I'm pretty sure it just targeted the medics and hit nothing else. That is the stupidest thing. Come on. Like, of all the stuff, there was an AT gun in the strike zone, there were like guards down here, and it killed the medics. These war crimes. Oh, okay. Well, alright, now I get that. Thank you, Emu, for educating me on how to utilize the stat screen.
Enemy forces capturing supply sector.
Nice minesweeper play right there by Barton. But he will get chased away by Paul's T-34 here on the left side. Anti-tank gun exposing itself a little bit, doing some back capping, but he needs to get some territory under his control. The victory point's still dead even. Nobody's really made that much progress. Paul in the lead, having preserved both of his tanks during the first engagement, taking out both the Ostwind and the Panzer IV, gives him a big armor lead. Barton has chosen Lightning War and will be able to field a Tiger quite soon. That AT gun might get destroyed by PTRS fire. It's actually extremely damaged. Paul needs to repair that, but he has very limited repair power right now, and he has tanks he needs to get repaired. I assume that repairing this field gun has not even crossed his mind. Conscripts go way south to take control of this victory point and try and start the clock ticking against Barton again. Conscripts oorah around this hedge.
Ready. The motherland grows.
T-34-85 is heading to the right side.
We are taking water. Taking fire. Supply sector under attack.
Ooh.
Engineers are standing by.
Counter harassment of the right side. We'll see one squad of grenadiers retreating. AT guns moving to respond over here. Grenadiers working the left side. Munitions and pyos are in the area to support. Maybe throwing down some mines. Just idle for now while he tries to focus on this engagement. Squad of grenadiers gets wiped right there though, dropping a DP and an MG42. That grenadier squad can recover one of those weapons. Picks up the DP. Big push by Paul's infantry on the flank of these AT guns though. Heavy mortar helps with the damage spread and that one goes down so quick. Guards continue their advance. On the move they cannot fire DPs or PTRSs, so they're kind of slow to kill the pack while in motion. But this flank is probably going to open up those T-34s to do huge damage here. Fortunately the Tiger's on its way to support. It's a little late to save these packs though. T-34 is moving up to push away all infantry, and the timing on that Tiger was just a little off. It's so late to support. Paul needs to keep his guards moving and clear that AT gun, though. It's getting so many free hits on that T-34. Is that T-34 really going to die? Oh, main gun destroyed. He gets lucky. Guards still haven't moved. Oh my god, Paul. What have you done? Field gun is available to support against the Tiger. Takes a shot which misses. This T-34 can help screen. Marked vehicle firing on that Tiger. Wow, it took so much damage right there. Field gun shot, T-34 shot. PTRSs are a semi-significant threat. He could maybe try and crew an AT gun here with his guards rather than try and brute force it to death with PTRS fire. I don't think that's going to happen, Paul. And he will retreat that squad. I really think he should try and recover these AT guns. He's going to destroy that one. Probably the right call, since he doesn't know where that Tiger is. Actually, he does. He does have vision of the Tiger. But he's going to destroy this regardless. Needs to execute a lot of repairs on his tanks. This one survives only due to an extremely lucky break. He definitely misplayed that engagement a little bit. Didn't keep his guards moving to take out the pack. Didn't move his T-34 out of the arc fire of the pack. Made quite a few mistakes during that and trying to micro too much at once. He's also losing control of the left side. Barton harassing the left side victory point. And Paul is paying the price of that mismicro during that engagement. Really struggling for map control. Really struggling for resources. Manpower is hurting a little bit, but he has so much fuel in the bank. He's going to have a second set of T-34s very soon if he can just stop the manpower bleed. There are DP machine guns and PTRSs on both sides. Both infantry armies have them. I wonder if that's how guards are balanced now. The fact that they have a pretty good chance of handing their weapons over to the enemy.
We are losing supplies to the enemy. Enemy forces are neutralizing a sector. We took it.
Heavy mortar bombarding infantry on the left side. T-34 is moving to do some counter harassment if possible. The Tiger is pulled back for repairs in Barton's base, and they're just kind of trading territory right now. Grenadiers taking control of the right side with one AT gun available to support that Paul could have stolen but didn't. His field gun, by the way, is receiving repairs. Good for Paul to notice its extremely damaged condition. He finally has a free moment where his T-34s are not damaged or in need of repairs or really engaging. Takes the time to repair that field gun. Good play. It's honestly far too unusual to see players repair their team weapons when they're falling low. AT guns tend to get priority over machine guns and mortars, usually because machine guns and mortars tend not to actually get that damaged. Stuka close air support just came in on these T-34s, but it looks like Paul dodged it. Nice dodge. He's going to go in on that Tiger, which is currently buttoned. Does not have the munitions for marked vehicle, though, so he can't boost his damage output here. Nice positioning on that AT gun for this push, and I think this T-34 is going to go down. Paul going all in on that Tiger. No AT gun to support from the south. Tiger's at about half. This T-34 needs to somehow get to safety, but... Oh, another main gun destroyed. No way! And he gets around the corner. Keep driving, Paul. You can totally save it. His infantry will clear out the pack. His main gun destroyed T-34 is just sitting here while he continues to try and micro against this Tiger. Moving up to try and steal this AT gun. Grenadiers are available for a rifle grenade. Everything just got decrewed. Guards could consider maybe a PTRS shot. Oh, by crewing the field gun, they sacrificed themselves. Tiger falling low. Field gun cannot get a shot off. He cannot get a shot off. The T-34, however, here looks like it's going to get to safety this time. Paul just fielded a second set of T-34s. He has a window of opportunity right now where he can try and finish this thing off. He needs to get into engagement range immediately. This T-34 needs to get to safety away from everything. If he stops even for a second, those Grenadiers might catch him, so hopefully he's sent that all the way back to base. These two T-34s moving to screen here. These squads reinforcing and healing in his base. The two T-34s making their way towards the Tiger to try and finish the job. Barton's going to be receiving repairs very soon. Stuka close air support still on cooldown. He doesn't have the munitions for it either. Those T-34s need to dive hard while they still have the chance. Paul working on setting up a triple cap here on the right side with vetted guards. He should easily win this engagement. Grenadiers are forced to retreat, and he's going in hard. Here it comes. Whoa, what is that maneuver? Why did he do that? That was a little weird. Either way, Pios take a big opening hit. That Tiger is almost certainly dead. Despite being Vet 2, I don't think it can survive this. There it goes. Tiger down. Panzer IV on the field on the left side. Unlikely to survive an engagement, but he wants to trade. He wants to take out that T-34. Paul, a little late to react to that. But wow, both shots penetrate and connect beautifully, and the T-34 is destroyed. Nice play by Barton, getting that Panzer IV out before he can get out of another Tiger, and trades a Panzer IV for a T-34-85. Paul just struggling to micro his way out of this engagement, doing a really awkward three-point turn, falling low. He is going to try and pull back to safety. There's still two anti-tank weapons right here. Infantry moving up to support straight down the middle. Panzerfaust will connect, damaging his engine. Panzer IV wants to chase. Grenadiers in range to crew this team weapon. This could be a huge play if the last T-34 goes down. Barton will have a huge advantage. Unfortunately, he is not going to chase. He does not feel comfortable chasing through this infantry screen, and probably for good reason. Those guards are just tearing his Grenadiers to shreds. Over here on the right side, Paul still holds the victory point, and he will maintain his triple cap and maintain that tank. Both of these players now have one medium tank left on the battlefield. Anti-tank grenade connecting with that Panzer IV, but it does not damage the engine. Guards continue to pick off infantry at range with their good long-range weaponry. PTRSs might plink away at the Panzer IV a little bit, trying to screen Barton off the fuel point, try and make a little bit of space for Paul to pull ahead economically. And it looks like he will succeed, taking both fuel points simultaneously right now, repairing here in the back, and executing a pretty good engagement in the front. The T-34 with the destroyed main gun pulls back up to the front line. And Barton has got to be frustrated that this thing actually survived that engagement. This destroyed main gun. It will come back to the battlefield at Vet 2 and full health. One Panzer IV against a stolen AT gun and two T-34s. It's going to be very difficult to pull off. Especially since his guards cannot seem to contend, or his Grenadiers cannot seem to contend with Paul's guards at all. They both now have one pack. The field gun there, whatever that was, has been destroyed. Pretty sure that was the field gun.
We are down to 200 points.
Sorry, Cynthia. You're always posting links in my chat and getting wrecked. How have you not learned the rules?
Territory secured. Infantry can march double time at your command.
Over here on the right side,
Grenadiers reporting objective captured. Enemy Panzer has spotted us.
Barton will get back full control of the victory and strategic points. Clock still ticking against him though. 160 points only remain. Paul generally engaging quite well, turning the victory points in his favor. Lots of back and forth in this series. All over the map.
New anti-tank gun has arrived.
Guards taking control of the munitions, and a T-34 is being deployed for counter-harassment of that minesweeper. The other T-34 receiving repairs in the back is available to be deployed wherever. Conscripts moving up to screen the Grenadiers away from the heavy mortar. He will be forced to make a full retreat from the right side though. Too much damage output. Guards move to retake control of the left side points while the T-34 chases those Pios down on retreat. Panzer IV and a T-gun wall moving up to try and counter should that T-34 get too overextended, but he's going to give up the chase. After one more shot, Panzer IV moves directly to engage right there. Meanwhile, on the right side, T-34 is moving to engage those Grenadiers. If those AT guns move up and get shots off on that T-34, it will go down. Paul! Pull back! Thought he was going to engage there for a second, but he does pull to safety when he sees the AT gun wall. Meanwhile, on the right side, one Grenadier squad wiped. Barton actually only has 2 Grenadier squads right now. He's lost so many.
The enemy is attempting to steal our
He's produced
sector.
9 and lost 7. Meanwhile, Paul, infantry, has produced 3 guards, lost 2, 3 conscripts, lost 2, 3 combat engineers, lost 1, and he's lost apparently a lot of field guns. Although I don't think that takes into account recruiting them. But heavy losses on both sides this game. It's been a highly lethal game. But I think that Paul's infantry preservation has been just a little bit better.
Watch out! Reporting engineer losses. Incoming.
T-34 harassing those Grenadiers. Barton wants to make something happen here. He's looking for an opportunity over here on the right side. Anti-tank gun moving up.
The enemy is taking our territory.
This is going to be a big engagement. I feel like those AT guns might be overextending a little bit. He needs to be careful. So, Soviet tanks available over here to move to engage. Full squad wiped right there, though. Guards moving up on the flank of these AT guns could be a serious threat. Meanwhile, these infantry advancing force a full retreat from those 2 squads of Grenadiers. The first squad of Grenadiers is basically the only thing left. Guards trying to decrew that AT gun slowly. They're at a lot of risk from that Panzer IV making a big play. Paul sending his heavy mortar to take the center VP, and the T-34-85 is going around the south flank. T-34 catches that Panzer IV, heavily damaged. Tiger's not going to arrive for quite some time. Wow, and the Panzer IV will go down. He needs to continue circle strafing these AT guns to death. Barton does not have the manpower for his next Tiger. Meanwhile, Paul's next set of T-34s is already here. Rear armor connects, but it looks like he will get to safety. AT gun cleared, everything wiped out, and I don't think Barton can recover from these losses. Huge play. The Tiger could not make it onto the battlefield, and Paul just won economically. Manpower, preservation, just a little better than Barton's. Because of his slightly better infantry preservation throughout the game, he was able to float up manpower for his next tank a little earlier than Barton was able to. You can see that fuel was not really the issue. These three T-34s will see the tank here. Paul does not quite have the munitions for marked vehicle. He may choose to engage, maybe not. Either way, he's in a very strong situation right now. I don't know if I think Barton should get too aggressive here against these three T-34s. They are having a bit of a traffic jam situation, though. That one needs to pull back to safety. Paul cannot seem to make up his mind whether he wants to engage or not. He's going to play it safe. He's pulling back. Pulling back to safety. Here in the center, Grenadiers trying to get the victory point under their control. And a stolen AT gun is setting up here to screen against that Tiger. Minesweeper Pio is moving to take control of the right side strategic point. Combat Engineer is going to repair that T-34. The two full health T-34s moving to push away Grenadiers here in the center. Tiger moving up the center to see what it can do. Barton does have 2 victory points under his control briefly, but he is way behind, and he's probably not going to be able to recover the game from 4 T-34s. Gunning down his squads on retreat, hunting and killing his Tiger with the assistance of marked vehicle when applicable. There goes that full squad of Grenadiers. Barton trying to field another AT gun with what little manpower he has left. Paul has no interest in engaging that Tiger for now. He wants to continue gunning down squads on retreat where possible. Looking for an opportunity here on the left against some of these overextended squads. Guards have taken control of the left side victory point. Center victory point is in Paul's control for right now. And the triple cap against Barton will continue. Grenadier squad getting away narrowly. This stolen AT gun gets some shots off on the Tiger, and a lone T-34 may be sufficient to take this thing out. It's trying to blitz back to safety. Barton just lost another full squad over there on the left. This full squad might get wiped. T-34 will continue to chase and try to engage frontally before changing his mind. I think he tried to ram, but it didn't work for some reason. Full health T-34 now hunting down that Tiger. Paul rotating his tanks in and out very safely. Never overcommitting if it's not necessary. I'm pretty sure we're going to see this Tiger go down. T-34 needs only 1 or 2 more lucky shots. I don't know. Now the Tiger only needs 1 more shot. There it is. T-34 gets the point blank hit off, penetrates the armor, and Barton has lost all of his tanks, all of his infantry. He's triple capped. That is definitely the game, and for the first time, Paul will ascend the throne as the next Star-Crossed King. Wow, what an opening! What an opening to the tournament today. Great first series. Took a little while to get it at Challenger, but finally Paul stepped up to the plate and takes it. Barton has been dethroned. GG.